couple ways to do it. First way is I just slap it and go. That's okay. Second way is I just double tap it. So it's going to go 1, 2. In Jikudo, later on, if we have time, I'm going to bring in some Jikudo. But in Jikudo, we do this. It goes right to the eye. And that's a shot, right? So same concept, except they don't go to the eye. They want it here. Make sense? So one, you can also do both at the same time. So you got 3 basics. One basic is I check, kick. That's okay. Second basic is double tap. That's cool. Third basic, both hands. Go. Watch. One, you see the mechanics are there. Peace. See what he does? He puts this here and let me hit it. Peace. 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 Follow me? So this wide cross. Alright, here we go. I don't hit the knee, I hit right above it. It goes into it here. And I hit at an angle. Muscle has the same fibrous makeup of wood. When you chop a tree down, do you chop on it? Who's ever chopped a tree down? Somebody. Sometimes the seminars I ask and they're like, what's that? You know how to chainsaw? When you hit it, you don't chop on a plane, you chop at angles. Set the legs. To really get through the muscle, when I hit the leg, any outside to here of the leg, I hit down. Here and around all the way to the T-band, I hit up. So I hit down, up. Body can go horizontal or angled up. You rarely angle down on the body. Why? Let me keep the rib cage. If he catches it when I angle up, I can counter that. That make sense at all?
Sir.
All right. So when I go 1, I'm trying to hit the sternum. Sternum to bladder is good. I pull back, I'm going. Look at that big short time. Look at the angle. If I stay here, 2 things are going to happen. One thing is I got to deal with this hand still. He's a good guy, and this guy he's going to punch me. So what I want to do is zone, just like a Kali, I'm trying to zone. Second thing that's going to happen, if I do kick, I'm going to have to kick the common peroneal. Well, what's happening is, where's the common peroneal going? The more he twists. Harder for me to hit it. But if I zone, I can slam that thing. Now look what he did to stop that. He turned his muscle right brace. Does that make sense? All right. 1, 2, 3. Okay, when I hit it, 3 things are going to happen. 1, he's going to buckle. Hope so. Good job. 2, he's going to shield it or check it. A good guy will. 3, he's going to slow down. He's going to step back to recover. The spin side and spin heel for when he steps back. Does that make sense?
Sir.
Spin heel especially, that's a reacher. In my younger days, though, I could throw that thing from, I was hitting people with spin heel kicks from here, I can't do anything. But it's a reacher. When they're backing up, boom. Does that make sense?
Sir.
Two. Okay, watch. 1. Still plugging in. He steps back, that's 1. Make sense?
Sir.
You remember when I said on the inside leg, you kick at an upper angle? What I like to do, in a lot of my arts, the best time to hit a man is when he's off the bat. Okay, 3 times to hit a man. 3 times to hit a man. When he's on his heels, because you take him out of combative structure. When he's on one leg, because you take him out of combative structure. Either leg. Or when you have his head over his feet, because you take him out of combative structure. So what I do is I go 1, 2, as this winds, there's the inside, there's the spin. Okay. So you got to be careful. So you got to be careful with this. He's got a role play because you don't want to kill him every time. By the way, you're hitting the femoral nerve. Okay, everybody stand straight. Straight like you normally stand. Put your hand in the middle of your pants seam. Put your middle finger, it's usually the longest, in the middle of your pants seam. Now look down where that finger is. There's a quarter size pressure point there. It has to be hit deep to get through it. That's why kicks work really well. It's called the common peroneal. That's what we tend to hit when we hit the outside leg. Directly on the inside that follows the artery is the femoral nerve. That's what I prefer to hit when I hit it. Now there's other spots, but my preference is that. So when I go 1, 2, as this winds, it's a boom, there it is. Last one, be careful. Go. So the way that I teach kicking is that we like to throw spins off of turns. This is how most people do that. They kick, and then there's the spin. That's beautiful. It works. I use it. This one's a little more, I think, discreet. So when I kick, it's already there. The kick's got to go back that direction anyway. So I use that. So I use it's already going. So I call it a touch and go. I don't plant. I do that really so. I touch and go with it. Does that make sense? Do it slower. Do it slower. Touch. Go. All right, here we go. Okay. Now, this is one of the things that's very unique to me. Now, other people do it. He does it. He don't even know he does it. I've been watching him do it for years. Let me ask a question. And I usually start class with this question. What is more powerful, a kick that's on the ground or a jump kick? What do you got? Who thinks a jump kick? Who thinks a kick that's on the ground? Very good. Yes, people think jump kicks because they see us demonstrated in demos and they see movies. But when we push off the earth, that's what makes power. Does that make sense? It's like a car. I got a pretty fast little sports car. I don't care how fast it is. If I put it on a block of ice, and I put a Pinto with a blown motor over here, that thing's still gonna be. You get what I'm saying? So we push off the earth when we kick. That adds power. Next question. What's faster, a jump kick or a kick that's on the ground? Because the same thing that gives us power, it also gives us friction. Friction slows us down. I do both every kick I do. Watch. So I'm here. When I land, I plant and I push. I plant and push. Every kick's a jump kick. But I plant when I don't kick. I'm not kicking air when I kick. I'm planting and pushing. Rolling. All right, jump. Our spin side kicks. Go. If you spin and your hip starts to face the target, you'll always do this. Always. As soon as my rear does that make sense? All right. Grandmaster Bob Horton told me this when I was blue belt. This was some of the best advice I ever received. I was having a horrible time with spinning, horrible time. And my mom used to drop me off at school. I was like a martial art addict, still am. But she would drop me off at school probably because she didn't want to, she wanted them to babysit me. So she dropped me off at 4, then picked me up till 9:30 every night. This was my life. And even in the kids program, I would just sit and watch the adult class. He let me in the adult program at 11 because he finally saw that I was determined. So at blue belt, I'll never forget. I wasn't getting it around fast enough. This is what he told me. And Grandmaster Horton has one arm really. His right arm is he had polio as a child. By the way, this is also his instructor also. So that's kind of how we met. We both started with the same guy, although he started decades before me, right? So he told me this is what he did. He says, what I want you to do right now, he picked up that little arm, he goes, I want you to swing that arm, don't even worry about the other arm. He says, swing it as fast as you can. He goes, and when you get good at that, shorten it up, just swing the elbow. When you get good at that, shorten it up, just swing the hip. Does that make sense? Yes, so velocity is important. When you learn to cheat the velocity, that's when you be able to pull it off. Does that make sense? Yes, all right, go. So at first, do it slow. I like to teach this when first is trying to hit his whiskers. Just do it. Right. You don't need to get that close. Look, right back to starting spot. Right back to home plate. Your kick should always go back to where you started. In your what? Stance. Does that make sense? Because you're in a fight. That kick may not put it up. If you land with that kick, we come from a long line of spin heel kicks. We hit you with it, we'll probably drop you, or at least stun you. But the fight's not over unless does that make sense? Yes, sir. So a good way to do this, he told me this one time ago. When you spin heel kick, The kick does this, it goes from here to here. Most people let it go way out there. That's why they're on balance. Does that make sense? When it hits, it goes down to the stance, and as soon as it hits, I sock it forward. Does that make sense?
Sir.
So it's here, shock it forward. I know it's a little difficult to choose. That's another reason why the jump's important. Because it alleviates that friction of the shoe. Does that make sense?
Sir.
So be very careful with it. All right, here we go. Don't care if you fall. Don't worry about not hitting the target. Just throw it. If you throw it with fear, you'll never hit anything. Does that make sense? So just let it go. Who cares if you miss? Who cares if you fall? It's a padded forward. All right, go.